You know, my mom always said, if something looks too good to be true, it probably is. And especially in these cars. They are ugly, unreliable, and just straight up unsafe. And I promise they will destroy the rest of your bank account, your well-being, and there's a pretty good chance they'll also leave you stranded. So, today we're gonna go through all of the worst cars that your mom would not approve of and you should never buy. And I'm telling you, steer clear of these atrocious cars. Or allow me to steer you to that subscribe button right there and turn on that notification bell if you're new. All right, buckle up and let's go. Okay, I'm sure you've heard before, since you were born at night, but not last night, that people, well, they know that BMW stands for break my wallet. And the worst BMW that you can buy is a cheap E60 M5. By lowest price, you can get this for as little as $8,500 for a 7-speed rear-wheel drive V10. Yes, a 5-liter V10. Are you kidding me? Yes, a 2-owner 2006 M5, clean Carfax, clean blue exterior, and white leather interior, with only 90,000 miles. I mean, this is the deal of the century. Or is it? Because, well, the E60 M5's got some issues. And when the E60 first came out, it made people take notice. It was beautiful, with some of the best design language ever to come out of Germany. And BMW just knows how to swoon the enthusiast's heart with the heartbeat of a 500 horsepower, 5-liter V10 that screams like an F1 car. This thing is a German super sedan, and it made roughly the same amount of horsepower as the Gen 1 Gallardo. And on paper, this sounds like a downright winner, but there's a little bit more to the story. And the E60 M5 might be the ultimate break my wallet mobile, because the guys over at BMW, they seem to skip some of the testing on this vehicle and really didn't plan out what would happen to the consumer after the car ran out of warranty. And now that the oldest models are roughly 15 years old, well, these are one of the worst vehicles that you can own. And why, you ask? Well, first off, reliability, mainly with that super duper car engine. And then you also have the tragic SMG transmission that really isn't all that good either. But let's go back to that engine for a second, because it had a bunch of issues, especially with the very costly Vanos pump, that if it failed and you got it fixed at a dealership would cost just as much as that E60 M5 I showed you on eBay. And if that didn't total it, well, you had the impending rod bearing failures, the throttle control actuators love to go out, and a whole lot more. And here's the problem. It's not if, but when something breaks, and it's insanely expensive. And a couple years ago, I owned an E90 M3, which is essentially the same exact motor that's in the E60 M5, except 2 cylinders lobbed off. And every single day that I owned that car, I was so scared that something bad was going to happen, so I just had to sell it. Though I did sell it for a profit using the Ideal Car strategies. Now, as far as the SMG transmission in this E60 M5, well, it likes to just grenade when driven hard. And since it's a single clutch and not a dual clutch like the DCT, it really isn't the best driving experience, especially around town. And when you add all this stuff up, the natural habitat for an E60 M5 is really in the back of a tow truck. And I could go on and on with all the issues of this generation of M car, but I think you're starting to get the point. The E60 M5 is just a car that isn't worth it and your mom wouldn't approve of. So just don't do it. But if you aren't really into sports sedans, which I know a lot of you aren't, and instead you're actually looking for something bigger, well then you might be looking at a Hummer H2. And before we dig into that, if you're enjoying this video so far, please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It would be awesome if we could get the likes up to 14,787. So do your part. It's free, just hit that like button. Because this next big rig, well, it ain't free to keep on the road. And yes, it's big, it's brash, it's bold. And it's an off-roader that is turned statement piece. And it really made an impact on pop culture, because back in the early 2000s, everybody in Hollywood, it seemed like, was driving this around as a toy. And I mean, just look at this thing. It is over the top. And that's what made it so appealing to people, because it's stood out like a sore thumb in a parking lot. And if you opt for the SUT, which I actually have a soft spot in my heart for, but you know your mom wouldn't approve of, well, it looks even more insane. And so you definitely shouldn't own one. But why? Well, first off, it's just a bad idea. And I could go on and on and on about how much miles per gallon the engine gets, like 7. And yeah, if filling up every day doesn't sound fun to you or your bank account, well, I could just stop talking about it right now. But I'm gonna open up the door and let's talk about the interior, because it is littered with cheap materials. And the styling is just so early 2000s GM. Boring. And on top of all that, it was severely overpriced with an MSRP of around 60,000 bucks. Yikes. And since it was so expensive, most people just didn't want to take it into the mud. But if you did, well, it was less than capable. You see, the previous generation, the H1, was a war machine, but the H2 just didn't really follow in its big brother's footsteps whatsoever. This thing would like to get stuck like on a twig. So the exterior looks like a brick, the interior is subpar, and it gets like 7 miles to the gallon. Well, we know that in 2020, you're trying to go green. Well, here at Ideal, and well, your mom told us that you are looking to go green this year. And the H2 is pretty much the polar opposite of that. And so it's probably crossed your mind to get something from Tesla, like the Model S, but you shouldn't. And even though they are fast, they are tech-filled, and they're luxurious, plus the fact that you get to trade in oil changes with consistent over-the-air updates, yeah, I agree, the Tesla Model S seems like a great idea. And that's because buying a new one, well, it is. But if you're looking at a used example, it's a little tough for me to actually recommend you buy one, because a new Tesla is gonna cost you at least $75,000 for the Model S, which is a lot of money for most of us to stomach. And so everybody's next best idea is to buy a used one, right? Wrong. You see, Tesla is still a very new company, and you want to get one with warranty, because if something goes wrong and you got to send it back to the Tesla dealer, well, since Tesla is a relatively small company and their cars are becoming more and more popular, it can take weeks or even months before you get your car back. And since there aren't a ton of places to be able to repair your Tesla, if you have to pay out of pocket instead of warranty, it can get really expensive really fast. For example, if someone rear ends your car, well, there are only a finite amount of approved shops to be able to work on Teslas. So you're at the mercy of how busy they are. And guys, I'm fully on board. I mean, it is hard not to be tempted by a Tesla Model S for just $20,000, 22 grand, 23 grand. Under 25 grand buys you a lot of Tesla. Well, Tesla car that is, and like tree shares of stock because Tesla's price is going insane. But you really want to skimp on that first batch of Tesla Model S's. Build quality, reliability, just the whole gamut, just really everything about them can make for a good vehicle, but you are really rolling the dice if you do get one. So do your mom and yourself a favor and get something that makes some noise for right now, especially with all the other manufacturers coming out with some incredible electric vehicles in the next year or two. And if you're looking to make some noise, well, the Mercedes SL 600 is not the one that you want to get. And yes, it is the flagship luxury sports car. And under the hood, it has something crazier than that M5 we just talked about. Instead of 10 cylinders, it's got 12. And instead of 4 doors, it has 2. So that means it has 6 cylinders per door, where the BMW M5 only has, well, 2.5 cylinders per door, right? Yeah, I don't think that's a metric we should use in cars. But anyway, the SL600 was small, light, and had a ton of power. And so it had to be a good car, right? Yeah, no. It wasn't, because that V12, well, it wasn't all that great. And although it did have 400 horsepower, 0 to 60 came in a measly 5.8 seconds, which is way too slow for any top of the line sports car. And don't even get me started on how expensive this thing is to keep on the road. It seriously is terrifying, because if anything at all ever goes wrong with this engine, it'll cost thousands and thousands of dollars in parts and labor. And really only the mechanic will be thanking you, because you're gonna be putting his kids through college. And if you're living your life on a budget like me, especially since I just bought my fiance a brand new Jeep Wrangler, whew, she better like it, because an SL600, just financially, there's no way that is in the realm of possibilities for me. And unless you like a ticking time bomb, well then it's a terrible idea to buy one. And since this is one of the top of the line models for Mercedes, it is filled with luxury. And when simple things break, you know, like the seat heater stops working, well, it's gonna cost you 600 bucks. And now that it's aging, well, everything is starting to go wrong. And it doesn't help that everything is expensive to fix. So do yourself a favor, and if you or any of your friends is even remotely interested in the SL600, tell them, nah, not today. Which is the exact same thing you should tell anybody interested in this next car. TT! Now, close your eyes for a second. When you think of Audi TT, you might think of a fun little roadster that looks cute, but open your eyes and, well, you're in for a big surprise. Because for me, and it will be for you in a second, it is quite the opposite. Because when I think of Audi TT, well, I think of death trap. And why is that? Because of one thing and one thing only: snap oversteer. See, while you're doing some sporty driving as any TT owner would, the rear has a tendency to slip out when you let off the throttle mid-corner, which can lead to a very, very bad crash. Ugh, that's gonna leave a mark. And yes, this did only plague the first generation, and Audi did install a spoiler to give the TT some more downforce. Your mom's not gonna know all that, and so she's not gonna approve of you getting the TT. And the other thing that won't approve of you getting the TT either is your bank account. Because the engines, well, they are straight up unreliable. And they pretty much will always have something wrong with them because, well, they're an Audi. And I'm not saying that all Audis are bad, but, well, the Audi TT, you know, like the timing chain loves to fail, which means that you have to pull out the full engine, which means that it will get expensive way faster than this thing goes 0 to 60, which really isn't all that shoddy. But it does suck to be doing maintenance repairs rather than go fast modifications. And back when these first gen Audi TTs were built, well, Audi was still trying to figure out the electrical on their cars. You know, like the lights and things like ABS and traction control. And unfortunately, they like to fail way more often than they should. And that makes your car pretty much undrivable. I mean, if you don't have lights and you want to drive at night, yeah, I think you're picking up what I'm throwing down. And the Audi TT will test your willpower because, well, they are straight up cheap. Like, check out this one for $4 grand. But trust me, you shouldn't lay your hands on it, especially with that motorized top, which can get extremely expensive when you got to repair it. And if you want something a little bit more safe, then you might be looking at a Land Rover Discovery. And in a perfect world, this SUV was supposed to be the luxurious, safe, and offer a ton of off-road capability. But in reality, it was just expensive, unreliable, and impractical. So let me break it down for you. Back when it came out, the Discovery had a steep base price of around $50,000, which last time I checked was way too expensive, especially for anybody that wanted to take these things off-roading, which is exactly what it was built for. I mean, why do you think the thing's called the Land Rover Discovery? Well, it's because they thought that their owners would rove over the lands to look for new roads to discover. But honestly, this thing won't get very far due to its horrid reliability. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Just ask Squid. And the biggest way that they're gonna bite you in the butt is, well, literally the air suspension in the butt of the car. These things are notorious for giving out, which makes your smooth, air-cushioned luxury SUV into a ragged and bumpy bouncy house. And that doesn't sound fun at all. Well, except the bouncy house part, but not the huge price tag associated with fixing it. And in case you were wondering, it's $1,500 for one airbag, and that's not even installed. And the best thing that Squid ever did was, well, get rid of it and get into something a little bit more reliable and one of our favorite budget overlanding platforms out there. Yeah, baby, he got a Lexus GX 470 for just $7,300. And now, having spent some time around it, that thing is something that your mom and my mom and his mom approve of. I mean, it's a Lexus. Who doesn't like Lexus? It's like a puppy. Everybody likes them. Well, I mean, most people do. And so we just covered some of the worst cars, trucks, and SUTs that you should never buy. And so were you surprised with any of these on this list? Let us know down below in the comments. And if you're new here, I'm Brad Danger, this is Ideal. Please subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and let's get us to that 14,000 plus like mark. Hit that like button. And we appreciate all the support that you guys have for us, and keep living the ideal lifestyle.